Morning, everyone. It's Joe Waxman. So, this morning I would like to look at the chart of singer and actress Whitney Houston. Okay, I was never much of a fan of Whitney Houston, but that's really irrelevant. I only say that because, probably because my sun is conjunct Venus, and I like to, I take my opinion very personally. That's the Sun conjunct Venus thing. And oh, Whitney Houston has her Sun conjunct Venus, so I guess that's relevant. I never listen to Whitney Houston. It's not my type of music, but she is a very prominent figure in musical history. She's just won like tons and tons of awards. Like, she's one of the best-selling musical artists of all time, has the best-selling soundtrack of all time, like all these awards. I mean, she's just an incredible voice, essentially. Her acting was not highly acclaimed, although her popularity and fame did land her several roles. The Bodyguard, the soundtrack to The Bodyguard is like I think the best-selling soundtrack of all time. Anyway, she got her start singing as in church, so it was a religious thing. And she was, recognized at a very young age. I think she was signed at 19 to start singing. And interestingly enough, her first cousin is Dionne Warwick. She's famous, and her godmother is Aretha Franklin. So anyway, she's got her sun in Leo conjunct Venus. Sun rules Leo, so it's an excellent sign to have your sun right in the middle of Leo. It's in the sixth house, which is for a Pisces ascendant, that's actually not so bad, because it is, again, the Leo house. I mean, it does come with the usual difficulties of the sixth house, which are, conflict, health issues. Although the sun is quite good for the health in the sixth house. Conflict, enemy, service to others, mundane daily life. But for the Pisces ascendant, the sun in the sixth house is very generous, very good, because in a sense that they really give, they really serve others, and that's very helpful relating to the Pisces. But they need that generosity in daily life, the ability to really help others, serve others. It really fulfills the sort of Piscean need role. So not terrible, and the Venus here, Sun conjunct Venus in Leo, is like, wow, super nice personality, just kind of glamorous, because they got the Leo ego, and then they got the Venus, like, beauty, right? I mean, I have Sun conjunct Venus, and it's not all bad. I mean, it's combust here. And it does have a Libran sort of Sun Libra, debility aspect, where, Venus kind of weakens the Sun, but it creates such a nice personality. And if you have other things that can balance that out, then it's quite good. And for being a star, I think, it just gives her this kind of glamorous appearance and personality, just very like loving and sweet. Sun conjunct Venus can be so sweet. It can be so nice to be around. Anyway, there's that. And sixth house also for creativity is really quite good, because it gives that critical eye, that Virgo mindset of editorial, just knowing the way things need to be and wanting it to be exact and right. It's a very empowering placement for creativity. It's not creative in itself, but it has the polar opposite of creativity, being opposite from the 12th house, where you can really see what needs to be done within the creative realm, right? So the Venus helps with that, and the Leo, Sun and Leo. She got her moon conjunct Jupiter, and we'll see this a lot with very talented people because it's such a powerful combination, moon and Jupiter together. They really benefit each other. They both help each other, and it's very close aspect, 2 degrees. Jupiter is her ascendant ruler and her MC ruler, so it's fantastic for that. Moon is the 5th house ruler, so for creativity. In the 2nd house, a voice. This is exactly what we'd want to see. Aries is not so great for either of these signs, but it's not terrible. I mean, it's not, it's not debilitated. So, I mean, Mars is debilitated in Libra. We'll get to that. But something that we should know right away is that her Jupiter is stationary. And that is fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Why is that? Because Jupiter's her ascendant ruler and her MC ruler, and it's making trine to her MC. So this for career and for her own being, for her own, her own power, her own, and her voice, Excellent, excellent, excellent. That's why she has such a powerful voice. This Moon Jupiter conjunction in the 2nd house. Excuse me. When a planet is stationary, it's at its most powerful. So here in Jupiter being the most powerful planet in her chart, because it's her ascendant and her MC ruler, is stationary, and it gets the benefit of being conjunct Moon, which it loves. It's exalted in Moon sign Cancer. And it's in the 2nd house. I mean, for a voice, for somebody to have a powerful voice, this is it. This is such a great combination, right? It's trine her sun, it's trine her MC, it's part of this fiery grand trine. Her confidence, her aura, her charm, her presence, her leadership ability, her inspiration, it's all being supercharged by this grand fire trine. I mean, she is a dynamo on fire, right? We even have a really nice kite here with Saturn in dignity in the 12th house. Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn in the 12th house would normally, if it was not in good dignity, it would block the creative urge, the creative aspect. But Saturn is the co-ruler of Aquarius. It's the physical ruler, right? So again, this is in good dignity. This is going to give her creative endurance and slow the process, slow it, giving her a long, steady career. And she did have, even though she died young, she was basically, I think, I guess 49 when she died. It was in 2012. So that's essentially, no, 59. Sorry, my math. Wait, 59. 12 plus 40. Okay, so no, like 51. Okay, 51. Sorry, bad math early in the morning. Anyway, from 19 till her death, and it probably would have lasted a lot longer. That's Saturn in good dignity, and still to this day, I mean, she's quite well known. I mean, not that, again, not my kind of music. I don't like that poppy, pretty, flowery. I never listened to it. I was more of a punk rock kind of guy, metal, rock and roll, all that. But to each their own. I mean, this is astrology. This is what I'm looking at the astrology here. All right. Not only that, she's got this incredibly powerful stationary Jupiter that's conjunct. Yeah, it's retrograde, but it's basically stationary. Conjunct the best planet for it, which is Moon, and then it's square the nodes. Okay, see that? That shows a certain destiny relating to herself, and her career, and the 2nd house, her voice. I mean, could it be any more clear? Could it be any more obvious? Look, all eyes are on this Jupiter. Look, it's got the square to the node. It's got a nice sextile to Saturn. I mean, Saturn's the focal point for this kite, but it's making aspect to Jupiter. The MC is making aspect to Jupiter. The sun is making aspect to Jupiter, even the Venus and the moon, right? There's so many strong aspects to Jupiter in the second house in Aries. Okay, this Jupiter is on fire. Literally, it's in Aries. It's on fire, literally. Okay. So her ascendant is in Pisces, again, ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. Pisces, as we know, is the sign that is most often equivalated with drug and alcohol abuse. And that was her inevitable downfall. Interestingly enough, it did not happen until later in life when she married Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown, if you don't know, was a I guess R&B hip hop singer. He wasn't nearly as successful as Whitney Houston, but he did have his own success, his own fame. But she dragged him down inevitably. Yep. Of course, she let him drag her down. She was a willing participant, so I don't think it's his fault. But you know, certain relationships can be real drags upon us if we let them. She has Chiron in her ascendant. So, you know, as beautiful as she was, and I actually think she was very beautiful, and as, you know, flowery and lovely, like she just has a very feminine kind of appearance to her, especially when she was younger, like just really beautiful, feminine, you know, really nice quality. But Chiron is in Pisces, right in the ascendant. And that's really going to damage her own self-esteem, her own self-worth. As famous as she was, she I know just by Chiron being here, she had a wound that allowed that she obviously did not heal. And I can say this because if it was healed, she would have not have died from drugs and alcohol, right? Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron shows our deepest wounds, our rejection. Chiron is rejected by his mother, but even physically, it is a planetoid that is like an asteroid or part asteroid, part comet. So it's like a weirdo. Chiron's a weirdo. And because of that, it's a reject. Both in theory, in the story, you know, Chiron was a centaur rejected by his mother. But in real life, it's just this big rock in the sky that nobody can agree about what it is, and therefore it's just a reject. It's this weirdo. It's completely unique unto itself. So with Chiron, wherever Chiron is, you know, if it's making a important aspect, you know, to one of the personal planets or the ascendant is one of the most sensitive. It's probably the most sensitive point in the whole chart. But Chiron in difficult aspect is really a challenge. We have to heal. In other words, we have to heal before we can utilize the good aspects of Chiron. Then Chiron can be a healer, and it's very powerful. It's very wise. It's a teacher. It really understands, you know, the down and outside of society, the reject, the wounded, those that just could never, you know, all the things. You know, mental health, physical health, drug addiction, trauma, abuse, disabilities, all of that, all the negative things. Chiron can really understand and have great empathy for, but trick is first it needs to heal itself. I don't think she had a chance to heal herself. From 19 years old, she was being hoisted up into the world stage with this incredible voice, right? Money, power, wealth, notoriety, like fame, all of it just handed to her from a young age. Eventually, her chironic wound in Pisces caught up with her. This spells drug addiction. This spells alcohol abuse right here for somebody who never had the good fortune of being able to face it. I mean, you know, we could still sit here and wish we were Whitney Houston Wish we had like all the good voice, the talent, the skill, the beauty, the the success, the fame, the wealth. But really, do we want that kind of life? Because without the challenges of mundane reality, we don't have the strength to face our demons, right? And that's really the downside of somebody like Whitney Houston, who just gets enormous fame and wealth from a young age, and then dies from her own inability to face her own demons. That's Chiron in Pisces in the first house. Um, Not only that, I mean, we can look at other places. Neptune square the sun in Scorpio. I mean, come on. She has more than one difficult aspect that dispels drug and alcohol abuse or escapism, right? This is a difficult one. Neptune is the co-ruler of Pisces. It's the side of Pisces in Scorpio, no less. No, that really points on the negative side to drug and alcohol abuse, sexual abuse, all kinds of abuse, mainly drug and alcohol abuse, right? The square brings that out. The square is a difficult aspect. Squares usually bring out the worst side of the planets, and that with Neptune, that's definitely drug and alcohol abuse, illusion, delusion, fantasy, unreality, yeah, deceit, lies, all that, even insanity, potentially, right? So those are the difficult aspects. I mean, her Mars is in the eighth house in Libra. That is also showing not such great relationships, because Mars is debilitated in Libra. Eighth house is the house of crisis, death, rebirth, ups and downs, shared resources, secrets, hidden things. I mean, in Libra, it's saying that like a lot of difficulty around relationships. Could be abuse, could be like hidden secret affairs, just all the negative thing, crisis, drugs and alcohol can be seen from the eighth house, death in general, right? Mars is ruling the second and ninth house. By the way, when second and ninth house are tied together, then the voice is going to reflect religion and philosophy, and that's what happened. I mean, she got her start literally in church, and she always sung about religious things, second and ninth house related. So Mars is bringing those things into the eighth house. Interestingly, she did lose her voice. Like her voice after she got into drugs really took a downhill turn. I remember I have a vague memory of her singing, and it was just bad. And she was all disheveled, and she was like, looked like a drug addict, and it was just awful. Of course, that was after phenomenal success. So it really didn't matter at that point. I mean, she could have sounded like a frog, which she basically did. And it wouldn't have detracted from her as a whole, because she had already left her mark, a very impressive mark on the world as, the premier singer of that time. But look at all these seventh house planets. This is both good for being on stage, but potentially difficult in relationship. That's one of the things about the seventh house. It's dual natured, because it has that very personal quality of relationship, but for stars, for being famous, it's also wonderful. Like, so the same planet that can be very difficult in relationship can make somebody a star, because the power is very different on stage, where you need this enormous amount of energy, almost like a spotlight, right? In order to be seen, in order to have the stage presence. That same energy can be overbearing in a personal relationship. So that's why a lot of times you'll see these famous people who are just, they get on stage and they're just light up the whole stage. They're wonderful. Everyone loves them. The whole crowd loves them. Then in their personal relationships, they're just complete wreck. They attract like abusive partners, and their relationships. You always see that, especially when there's a lot of seventh house planets. Just horrible relationships, but incredible stage presence. right? Seventh house is the house of others. It's the house of masses. And especially for singing or speaking, it's really, really important. It's not just about the MC. Seventh house is 10th from the 10th, right? You count 10 places, you get to the 10th, you get to the 7th. It's the career of the career. It's very important. So we have an exalted Mercury. So her expression is spot on, right? Like that's, she can communicate like with refinement, with poise, with sophistication. That's Mercury in Virgo. It's very high-minded, very for the Mercury. It's very sophisticated. Mercury, very smart, very intelligent, intellectual rather. And then Uranus and Pluto, her Mercury, man, I mean, that's supercharged, her Mercury, right? And that's ruling the 7th house and the 4th house. So right from an early age, going into, communicating, speaking, with the masses, right? Relating to the masses. It's not right. It's not just relationship. It's also the masses, communicating with the masses. Pluto, Pluto in the 7th house, especially, it's great for being like this dynamic, powerful presence. So is Uranus. And this is that 60s conjunction, of Pluto and Pluto and Uranus, the famous 60s conjunction. It's 7 degrees apart, but Mercury's also here. Pallas Athena. I don't know how much this plays into it, but I left it in there anyway. This is very powerful, very dynamic, incredible stage presence. It's got the Mercury, Pluto, and Uranus, and Mercury being exalted kind of gives power and strength to the Pluto-Uranus conjunction, making it even more dynamic. Both of these are opposite Chiron, so there's a Chironic element. So as powerful and strong as she was, there was a certain vulnerability also in her relationships. Chiron's still reflecting on the 7th house, and this is a very Pluto's abusive. Pluto's power over Uranus is shocking things. So her relationships, even as powerful as she was on stage and her presence, she's attracting some difficult relationships here with Pluto and Uranus. Even though Mercury's exalted, so there's going to be some she's going to attract high influential people. She dated Jermaine Jackson and Eddie Murphy and somebody else who was very high profile. And then Bobby Brown, who again was a celebrity unto himself. So she's attracting very powerful people, but also imbalanced relationships. Again, really dynamic on stage, not great for relationships. Just too much energy, too much. Pluto and Uranus they're the revolution of the 60s. That's not really what you want to see in the 7th house. It means her relationships are going to be too revolutionary, right? Bobby Brown revolutionized Whitney Houston, and not in the best way. Of course, she allowed it, but regardless. Her south node's in Capricorn, her north node's in Cancer. So when she was younger, in the 11th house, she was very career oriented. Capricorn's all about success, material, success in the world. 11th house is the house of career success, as well as groups, networks, working with others, working in group involvement, being very social and popular. 11th house deals with popularity. 5th house is creativity, but Cancer is emotional. So she's, after like late 30s or 40s, she became much more emotional, very creative, but more emotional. So that's why one of the reasons she let her guard down, because now she's getting all emotional and drugs and alcohol can naturally creep in with these other influences. This is strengthening the water houses because it's trine. So now she's getting in deep. Now she's getting into the deep feeling, the deep waters of Cancer, of Neptune and Scorpio, and of her ascendant in Chiron and Pisces. Excuse me, I have something in my throat, it won't go. Sorry. So yeah, that's really what happened. I mean, she just became much more emotional, much more deep feeling, and the drugs are natural. That's a natural tie-in to that watery. We always associate drugs and alcohol with water influence normally. I mean, because they have the tendency to escape, to feel things very deeply and powerfully, to 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 dive into the subconscious creative waters, right? That's all very related to drugs and alcohol. Um, so that's pretty much it, right? I mean, I think we can see basically Whitney Houston in a nutshell, like why she was so powerful with her voice. This combination here with the stationary Jupiter in the second house, ruling her ascendant and her MC trine with this grand fire trine. I mean, so powerful, so powerful. But then we get into like, you know, really strong stage presence, but difficult relationships, ability to reach the masses. Sixth house is very service oriented, you know, really wanting to be kind of use and service to others. Very generous, very giving, very nice personality, especially without the drugs. I mean, really, really nice. Really, Sun conjunct Venus and Leo's just probably everyone just loved her. I'm sure of it. Right? It is opposite Saturn, but Saturn's in good dignity. And it's part of this grand fire trine. I mean, you know, this is long lasting creativity, Saturnian creativity. So it just Saturn in good dignity just makes things endure, right? It's just long lasting and slow growing. So her career was just slowly becoming, she was becoming more creative as she got older before she got into the drugs, you know, the drugs ruin it. But right. And then this Chiron is trying Neptune, kind of teaming up. And trying Mercury, exalted Mercury. So I mean that's quite good. That could even be, there's even psychic. I'm sure her intuition was super powered, psychic ability here, because this Mercury is like dynamo with this Pluto and Uranus. I mean, it's the seventh house. It's not exactly a psychic house, but Virgo is very intuitive, very sensitive. Neptune in Scorpio is highly psychic. Chiron in Pisces probably also has psychic ability. So I wouldn't be surprised if she had maybe untapped, but definitely some psychic wherewithal. Anyway, this Jupiter stationary is super duper powerful. And that's I mean, her whole chart's really well conducive to singing anyway, but we know that she has a lot of difficulties. I think that's it, guys. That's Whitney Houston with a quick reading astrologically. So if you like this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And if you want to book a reading, go to my website, macroastrology.com. And I will see you guys next time. All right, thanks. Bye.